So when I was going for fuel in Utah, I saw this. Isn't this crazy? I guess the bridge was too low. I'm here in the Napa Valley area and I located some wild turkeys just roaming around this parking lot in the wee hours of the morning. Crazy. Isn't this ring obnoxious? It's obnoxious, right? Um, I fell for it. I fell for the scam. For about 40 years, I was pretty good about not falling for scams like this. I think when I was younger, I was in downtown LA and somebody sold me a gold chain and I fell for it. I bought it. It was obviously fake. But I was in the parking lot of the Rio and I was meeting a friend and Cadillac Escalade pulls up, two Middle Eastern guys, and the guy is on empty in his gas tank. He shows me, and he's a pretty good actor, very animated, acting like he just lost a lot of money and he's really desperate and he needs gas, and asks me to buy his ring, pay him whatever, you know. I have $40 in my wallet. I gave him $40, took the ring because I saw it and it had some weight, and it looked like it was legit. And obviously, I never fall for scams like this. But the guy's acting was one really good, and two, I don't know, I was kind of in a lighthearted mood, in a good mood. But anyway, I was stupid. And the funny thing is I don't fall for scams like this. But I guess if you catch me at the right time, I am gonna fall. So I went and took this to the jeweler inside the casino, and they took a look at it and they said, "Wait, don't tell me." A Middle Eastern guy came up and said he was in trouble and he needed money. And I said, "Yeah." She told me this is a scam going on all the time in this area. And if he really wanted money, he could have gone straight to the pawn shop because there's pawn shops in every corner of Vegas, and he would have been able to cash out for this ring big time. But she looked at it and she said, without actually testing the ring, it actually looks legitimate. So if you want, you could just wear it around. It looks nice. And I told her, it doesn't even fit on my thumb. It swirls around my thumb. It's so big. You live and learn, and then you live and then learn again sometimes. I still feel dumb. This is me driving through Las Vegas. On Friday night, I tried to park at Palace Station like I usually do, and they started enforcing that no parking again in the truck parking area because unless you rent a room for like $300, they're not going to let you stay there. We are left with not too many options and ended up at Rio, and they had an event there at the Rio, and luckily we got to park overnight because the event started that following afternoon. But yeah, these are some of the challenges because things are changing so much in Vegas. Even that state line, they've closed out most of the casinos there, and all you have is the Flying J there, and everything else is pretty much off limits for semi-trucks now. So I stopped here at a TA north of Nevada on the 15, right in Arizona, at a place called Beaver Dam. And the sky is just amazing here, so I wanted to take the video. And the crazy thing is there's no rain in the forecast, but look at that. This is my view from Beaver Dam, Arizona, right before you get into Utah, after you pass Nevada on the I-15. So pretty incredible scenes. Just wanted to share that with you guys. But that looks pretty bad, huh? It looks like pretty ominous. So John Doe gets angry at life and has a lot to drink, goes up to the roof of this skyscraper, and right before the ledge it says warning. It says caution, danger, do not get close to the ledge. And being so upset with life, and he had a I don't care moment, got to the edge and a gust of wind hit him and he lost his balance and fell. Now he gets to the afterlife and they ask him, what happened? What are you doing? And he said, well, you created that gravity that just sucked me down and killed me. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but there's a lot of people in life, we're so myopic, we have such tunnel vision, we live in such a bubble that we can't rationally think about a situation without making it so much about how others needed to cater to us, even to the point where when you see God, you blame God for the gravity that killed you. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that have strange lenses on that are pulling, and it's all about their situation and their problems and their unique circumstance that they need help with or they are victims of. So I'm just saying that I think we have to be careful because when people get spoiled in life, there's varying degrees and there's varying elements of being spoiled. And sometimes we don't see it. It sounds ridiculous when I talk about this gravity situation, but other people can see. And they want to let us know, but we have no room to hear their constructive criticism or their encouragement or whatever they want to give us because we've shut that door, you know? And yeah, I think it's important for all of us to self reflect in an honest way from time to time. I can honestly say that the drive from SoCal to Utah, especially the portion between Nevada, Arizona, and Utah, that little stretch, is probably some of the most scenic driving that I've gone through. I really enjoy heading up to Salt Lake City and back. What's going on, my people? So, this week was a good week. I went up to Napa Valley, American Canyon, which is right by Napa Valley, and back. And then they sent me up to Salt Lake City and back. And all in all, a really good week. It was a little bit tight in terms of time in the beginning, but when I went up to Salt Lake and back, it was smooth sailing. So can't complain. It was a good week. The back office staff, I barely needed to dialogue with them because everything just went smoothly. So I ended up with about 2,230 miles or so. And I got to end the week midday Saturday. So it's 4.5 days of working and still ended up doing pretty decent. So it was a good week. So this week, I wanted to talk to you guys about just how multi-layered and multifaceted life is. And there's a lot of people out there giving you, you know, just advice or direction, or whether it's financial advice or like planning advice or just career advice, whatever. Even me talking to you and sharing my experiences and just giving you my perspective on things with trucking and life. These are good for reference points only. There is no cookie cutter formula for success or cookie cutter formula for doing things a certain way and having it fit your identical situation or your life. Once in a while, everything lines up, and yeah, you can benefit from doing exactly what other people are doing. More often than not, everybody's situation is unique and different. Even, you know, sometimes like we think about politics and people just go straight along party lines, like I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, you know, and they just agree with everything. Even though they don't agree, they agree, you know, because why? Because it's their party. And life isn't that simple. You know, that's why it's kind of archaic in a way that our government has a two-party system that represents all of Americans, you know, just, you know, but I mean, it is what it is. And we still live in the most blessed and the greatest country in the world, despite all of our faults and craziness, you know, but I want to tell you that life is multifaceted. It's multi-layered. So when you listen to people give you advice, even at church, even at schools, or especially with your jobs and you know mentors and you know your counselors or your or the people giving you like life advice, whether they be a life coach or a life leader, spiritual leader, whatever. They may talk to you, but they could only give you advice from their experience. So, why am I telling you this? Yeah, it's good to hear a lot of different people. It's good to get success formulas from people, but you also have to use your head. You have to see how that applies to your current life situation. You might be listening to advice and being naive and saying, you know, trying to put a square peg into a round hole. It doesn't fit, you know? There's a lot of people that don't have the time to really think about all the different aspects of life and learn about their current circumstances and their situation to be able to properly gauge their current situation and their life situation and make good, wise decisions, you know? And so that's why it's important to keep growing and then in a safe environment, be able to pass down this wisdom and knowledge to the people you love or to the people you encounter. It's important to share this, and truth and time go hand in hand. And over time, people can sift out all the BS and be a little bit more ahead in life. Sometimes we say that, oh, that person was born with a silver spoon and that person has a leg up because financially their parents are so well off that they started life off well off. But more important than monetary wealth is the wisdom you could pass down from generation to generation, or the wisdom you could glean from other people. But at the end of the day, you yourself have to use your brain. You have to have good discernment, and you have to keep having a hunger or wanting to grow. If you have no capacity to grow, you could hear all the wisdom of the world, but it'll just bounce off. It'll just be nonsense to you. It'll just be noise. If you've got an open mind and you want to know, you really want to keep growing. If we're living life the way we should be, we should keep growing until the minute we meet our maker. On this earth, we're going to keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. Whether it's just learning and keeping up to date with technology, learning about behavior patterns, learning about what's right and wrong in this day and age. There's a lot of things going on. It's very multifaceted. So make sure you know how to discern and to apply properly what affects you and what doesn't. And keep growing, keep learning. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you for following me on this journey. God bless all of you. If you're a driver out there, stay safe. Peace. Until next time, cheers.